Welcome to the Water Cooler Recap for Tuesday, December the 27th, 2011. A rather brisk day outside today.
Kind of windy, too. It's a brisk, windy, cold, chilly.
Yeah, but I believe the flash flood warnings have elapsed.
Good.
So we're going to keep an eye out on that.
Yes.
But one of the things we did talk about today was Monday Night Football. Now, not just because it's Tuesday and we always tend to talk about Monday Night Football. This is actually pretty interesting. Drew Brees, quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, broke the NFL passing record for most yards in a season. He has thrown so far for 5,087 yards, breaking by 3 yards the record that Dan Marino had, or set, I should say, back in, I think it was 1984.
But I hear it's not a secure thing.
No, it's not, because actually that record could be eclipsed twice in the same season. Tom Brady has thrown for 4,897 yards. He's the quarterback for the New England Patriots. He has barely a 200-yard game, and he could also break that record, or at least match that record, go beyond that record. So Drew Brees hasn't actually set the record yet.
Yeah, because it's still in the air.
New Orleans has pretty much secured themselves a playoff spot, and if he
sits out next week,
Tom Brady could actually set the record.
Yeah,
we'll be keeping an eye on that one.
Very interesting.
Now, but before we move off from football, we got to show you the photo of the year so far. The fan sign of the year belongs to this young lady from Green Bay, who got excellent seats there in Lambeau Field.
Really think we need more explanation than that, do you?
I love that.
That kind of says it all.
Outside of "Don't you feel silly?"
I hope he was watching at home.
Oh, me too. All right, so from here we have to go to another area of conflict over in the Middle East.
Yes, if you haven't heard, the Straits of Hormuz has been in a bit of trouble. Here's a map of the area there. You can see the Straits of Hormuz there in the lower part of your screen, just under Iran. Iran's Navy is out in the international waters of the Persian Gulf, the Straits of Hormuz, and is having a 10-day military operation. And as a result,
just an exercise.
An exercise that shows their power to effectively shut down and blockade the Straits of Hormuz. As a result of that, we are, of course, the U.S. Navy is, of course, kind of probing against their defensive systems, and there's been a few, not conflict, I don't even want to raise it to that level, but some shouting matches between the Iranian Navy and American pilots.
Saber rattling, so to speak.
So that's something that we'll be keeping an eye on for the next few days. If Iran was to blockade the Straits of Hormuz, that would effectively cut off 1/3 of the world's oil supply. Wow. That is where 1/3 of the world's oil supply goes to get to the rest, to marketplace.
Out of the Persian Gulf.
And so, it's a big deal. And we'll be watching the news, and hopefully the U.S. Navy will be watching it very closely.
Hopefully it'll die down when that begins.
I hope so.
And now to the retail markets here in the United States. Things aren't going so well for Sears.
No, it doesn't look like it is. They've had their worst Christmas season ever. They actually had a lower selling quarter this quarter with Christmas than they did last quarter without Christmas.
Right, and they think that's because they and we argued about whether or not people should be able to open their stores on Thanksgiving night as opposed to the next day, Black Friday. They held off to open Black Friday morning, like about 4 a.m., whereas others opened early, and that may have been enough to push them. But it looks like Sears is going to close between 100 and 120 Sears and Kmart stores. Yeah. Coming up in the at least announce the closings in the coming months. They haven't decided which stores they will be, but they did say they're going to be leaning to those underperforming stores so they can spend more time on the stores that actually make money.
So, and a lot of reasons are being speculated about it. There's the starting your sale late for Black Friday too. Sears is well known for not spending money remodeling. Once they build a store, that's the store. And like some of them are getting a little long in the tooth.
Depressing place to be. It's an unappealing place to shop, I suppose. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But they did say, of course, there's going to be some job losses. They just don't know how many.
Well, but it's got to be in the thousands.
Sure.
I mean, at 100 stores, if they just lost 10 people to store, that's 1,000.
Yeah, unless you try to transfer managers or something. But even so,
there's more than 10 cashiers at those stores, or whatever they call the floor people at a department store. I don't actually know.
Well, you can watch the Water Cooler at 11 o'clock live every day on WMJN TV 29 here in North Alabama, or you can watch us stream worldwide live on WMJN29.com.
Also, love to see you on our Facebook page. Do a search for The Water Cooler, all 3 words. We're the TV show. Like us, we'll like you back.
And you can
see this recap every day.
Yeah, that's what we'll be, and you can throw in, maybe add in some stories that we'll talk about on the next Water Cooler.